Hello and welcome to the Talking Yaku podcast. I am Yuri Karasawa, or you might know me as Yaku Cosmopolitan, and joining me is my co-host, Brandon Tu, operations analyst at Sports Info Solutions and pro evaluator at Prospects Live. This is episode 3 of 2026, and our topic today is starting pitcher rankings in Nippon professional baseball. I've been building out a list of every single potential starter in the league, all 120-ish of them dating back to November, right after the end of the Japan series. I was on multiple 14 plus hour flights over the holidays, and I spent a lot of that time just digging into advanced numbers, watching highlights, doing short write-ups. I recently published an entire breakdown of my top 15 for justbaseball.com, and Brandon has started releasing in-depth scouting reports of his top pitchers. So I think it's going to be fun to compare our lists. With that being said, where can people find your scouting reports, and how's it going, Brandon?
Yeah, people can find my my recent scouting report on Hiromi Itoh at Prospects Live. I believe it's now under the paid tier, so you'd have to pay for it, but it's not that much a month, and it's some of the best content value you can get out of a monthly fee. So if people want to check that out, they can pay the little small fee, and then obviously if you find it valuable, continue on with that. And yeah, so I'm basically doing pretty well. I think anything with rankings is pretty hard. And obviously no one online is going to have any issues with our rankings whatsoever. And, there's going to be no pushback or anything like that. So, yeah, I can't wait to get into it and just talk about some nuances and stuff like that. But, I shout out to anyone who does rankings or ranks anything, because rankings are hard.
Yeah, not controversial whatsoever. Definitely not going to be generating any kind of discussion online. But yeah, I encourage everyone to do their own rankings, certainly, and we need more of that in the MPB space. Before we begin, make sure to follow Japan Ball on all its socials and check out our official tour provider, Extra Innings Travel, for information and bookings on global baseball-centric tours to great places like the Dominican Republic, the Netherlands, Korea, and of course Japan, where I am one of the tour guides. And don't forget to subscribe to my weekly MPB newsletter on japanball.com. All right, so obviously everyone is eagerly anticipating the 2026 World Baseball Classic, which starts in a few weeks. We recently had the full rosters announced, but let's not forget the MPB regular season, as well as MLB, starts right after the WBC ends. So there's very little turnover, and we will probably do season predictions and stuff in March, but our bread and butter is starting pitcher analysis. That's how Brandon and I first started doing episodes together, and I think we both enjoy this. So on the screen, if you're on YouTube, you will be seeing our respective top 20 rankings. This is projecting for the 2026 season. Past performance informs us about the future, but this is about 2026 rather than 2025 or any previous year. Now let's start at the top. Both of us have a very clear tier 1, and it's made up of 4 guys. Hiromi Itoh of the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters, the reigning Sawamura Award winner. Livan Moinelo of the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks, the reigning Pacific League MVP. And then Shunpeita Yamashita and Hiroya Miyagi, both of the Oryx Buffaloes. Both our rankings have these as our top 4, but the order is slightly different. So I have Yamashita 1, Itoh 2, Moinelo 3, Miyagi 4. You have Itoh 1, Moinelo 2, Yamashita 3, Miyagi 4. We agree about Miyagi at 4, but not the rest. So tell me why you ordered them this way. Was it an easy or difficult decision, and what you like about each of them?
It was a difficult decision. Yamashita, I just feel like coming off of the lower back issues for 2026 specifically, I don't know if his production, if he's back to full health and he's throwing and the innings are there, he's going to be as good as Moinelo and Itoh in terms of numbers. But I don't know if Oryx is going to let him get the inning numbers to match Itoh and Moinelo in terms of, I guess, raw inning totals and just going deeper into games and racking up those type of stats. And I guess I'm looking at this from the standpoint of if people are voting for the Sawamura, he needs to have some of those counting numbers to stay within striking distance of Moinelo and Itoh. And you could argue that Itoh and Moinelo, as I pointed out in my article, my scouting report on Itoh, they went outing for outing and basically kept matching each other throughout the season. And Itoh just had a little bit more of innings than Moinelo did. But you could argue that Moinelo, on an inning per inning basis, was better, if not just as good as him. So I think that's where I had those three Miyagi is the interesting one because he's the lowest floor starter in my opinion, or like the highest floor. The ceiling's not as high, I guess, is what I should say. It's a lower ceiling, but the floor is like so good. He's going to be productive in 2026. He's going to be one of the best starters in the league. I don't see him like the volatility of him like not pitching every day or like something happening. I mean, obviously knock on wood, but that's kind of how I view those 4 pitchers. I think there's a clear like tier of the 4 best pitchers in Japan right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point about like the Sawamura Award, if I'm ranking based on likelihood to win Sawamura, I think Yamashita is very unlikely just because, yeah, he's not going to be racking up the innings. And also there's a big wins and complete games component to that in terms of how voters, like to assess in Japan. So I think Itoh and Moinelo are still like the most, they're best positioned to win the Sawamura in 2026. But for me, Yamashita, just like his sheer dominance and stuff, that puts him number 1 for me, just because if he is healthy, I just have no doubts at all that this guy is going to dominate. He only made 4 regular season starts last year, but I mean, we're talking about a 36% strikeout rate. He was under a 10% walk rate as well, which is what you like to see with him. He has had stretches in his career where the command is all over the place. Early in 2024, I mean, he was just behind in counts so often, and then guys were sitting on like his fastball and kind of crushing him. So he got moved to a bullpen role temporarily. But then in the second half, we saw him go absolutely supernova, and then he took that momentum into 2025. Unfortunately, yeah, the lumbar issue is very concerning, and much like the conversation we were having with Roki Sasaki back when he was in the league, we might never see this guy get to a qualified season in Japan being 143 innings. That's certainly a possibility, but he has the right frame. He's big. I just feel like if everything clicks and he's able to stay healthy, Yamashita is the type of guy that's going to be giving you, a 30% strikeout rate at least, with just so much in the way of upside, the power fastball up to 99-100, and then the curve and the split. Yamashita, to me, again, he's just like a freak and a guy who very much reminds me of a young Shohei Ohtani on the bump. When it comes to Itoh, you look at all these different pitch models, like Bono, his pitch value has the four-seam fastball for Hiromi Itoh last year at a 72 on a 20-80 scale, which was the best fastball in all of NPB among starters. And then on my PERA-based model, which is inspired by Jeff Zimmerman, I had him at a 65. So you average those two together, that's like a 70 grade fastball for him. It's only velocity-wise like 93, 94 most of the time, but he locates it really well, I think, top of the zone. He gets crazy ride on it. And then he has obviously so many other pitches. Now, you've written about this, like he kind of simplified things and started shrinking his mix a little bit last year. And also he was throwing in the pen for Samurai Japan with Yu Darvish yesterday. And he was saying that he talked to Yu Darvish and was thinking that maybe he got a little bit too obsessed with trends, is what he was saying. But that kind of, to me, speaks like him adding like the kick change last year. Like maybe he's trying too much when he doesn't really need to. So I'm very curious to see if Itoh can, take yet another step forward, despite the fact that, I mean, in terms of the Sawamura Award, he obviously has already kind of reached that peak. Moinelo, I very much think is just as safe as they get. This guy has never been bad in his career, whether it's as a reliever or starter. Yeah. He has no problems managing his splits. He added that kind of slurvy sweeper in the second half, so he's, staying dynamic. And then Miyagi, question for you about Miyagi is, do you think he's already reached kind of like his absolute ceiling? If you go back to 2023, he has the best CSW rate in MPB over this past 3-year span at 32%. He obviously does a lot of things well, but it's lower velocity, and a lot of it is kind of just off that fastball sweeper combo. I think the splitter and changeup are all right, curveball, but I'm just not quite sure if he has the exact upside as these other 3 names. Do you think there is another gear for Miyagi to step into? Can he win the Sawamura Award?
Yeah, he definitely can win the Salomon Award. I think he can reach that other gear. Um, in terms of another gear, it wouldn't be like adding a pitch shape or like refining a pitch. I think his arsenal and his like command is basically maxed out. It would just be about him like finding usage inside of games and getting even more like fine tuned with I can throw this sweeper to this guy. I can throw this curveball to this guy, and things like that. And I think we saw that last year. Like he's starting to understand his mix even better than like other guys. And I just think he maximizes his potential to like yeah, I just think he maximizes his potential like already, like in terms of the stuff and the command. But it would be like pitchability stuff. I think is what we would really be talking about if we were to like raise him as like, okay, he could get to a Salamore if he does this. That would be more pitchability stuff. But I just find him fascinating as a pitcher. Like, obviously, when you're throwing different pitches, like, you might have different, like, wrist angles for, like, a fastball versus, like, a breaking ball and stuff like that. But you can, like, see it when you look at, like, close-ups, like, how he, like, changes his wrist angle to, like, get on top of his four seam and, like, really, like, drive it, to the glove side and stuff like that. And we've talked about that four seam command. I think with that ability to drive that pitch glove side, he's basically maxed out his ability to like get righties out almost. But maybe there's something else in there that could really like unlock that righty I guess strikeouts, even like righty strikeouts, righty whiffs. Like that's one of those steps where I'm like maybe there's something there. But I think for the most part it's like a pitchability thing at this point. But maybe that's why he's such a high floor guy, like that's why he's such a high floor MPB starter. And personally, I think if he ever comes stateside, he's a rotation guy. Like, I know other outlets don't view him that way. I know other people don't view him that way. They just view him as like a diminutive lefty who's going to be a reliever. But I think he does things that are just different. He creates angles that are just so unique that he can be a rotation guy for an MLB team. And I buy that in terms of like his future if he ever decides to come stateside.
He's an outlier with the lower arm slot, and much like how Shota Imanaga's found success with his unique fastball, despite being in the low 90s. I think Miyagi can be the same. I mean, that glove side command obviously is insanely good. And yeah, I mean, this guy has a career ERA of 2.5. The strikeout rate for his career is 23%. But then you look at like the wins column. The last 2 years, it's only been 7. He didn't have
Yeah.
any complete games last year. That's why it is going to be more difficult for Japanese voters to get on his side. But I feel like in the second half of 2024, we saw that he does have like this ability to be a workhorse because he was injured for a month or two, and he really wanted to get to the qualified innings mark because he wanted to win that ERA title. Ended in heartbreaking fashion as a rain
Yeah.
delay prevented him from getting to 143 innings. He finished at 141 and 2/3, but he's shown in the past that he can just like rattle off like consecutive starts of 120 pitches. Just really didn't do that in 2025. So I think that will be a big part of Miyagi potentially winning the Sawamura. But yeah, I mean, what a crazy 1-2 punch they have with him and Yamashita, and then Ryuhei Sotani, who we'll get into later. But moving on to tier 2, we start with a lot of agreement here on Atsuki Taneichi of the Lotte Marines and John Duplantier of the DNA Bay Stars. We have them flipped here, but they're the clear-cut best in tier 2.
Yeah.
So why don't we start there? Tell me what you like about Taneichi and Duplantier. Did you give them any consideration for tier 1?
I definitely went back and forth. I thought about pushing Atsuki Taneichi to like the next tier just because of how good the second half was, and I think he figured some things out. I'm pretty sure you posted a tweet where you where there was like an interview where he was like, I was trying to copy Imai too much, like him and Imai work out a lot, so he's like almost I was trying to like copycat him, and I think sometimes that works for certain individuals, like copycatting mechanics or copycatting pitchers, but it was clear for him that it was like a mechanical flaw. And then like as soon as he like kind of got away from that, just became more smoother, was getting down the mound better. Like he started sitting like 93, 94. And in in the like from July onward, he had the best K percentage among qualified starters in the league. It was 30.4% K percentage. The next closest in terms of qualified starters was Itoh at 24.8%. So he like absolutely like dominated, almost to like a Yamashita level of like dominating the strike zone and just getting guys out. And I think the four seam playing up, and we talked about that four seam for a while, but I think the four seam is what really took him to the next level. And I think for Duplantier, it's about throwing innings. Like it's just about getting on the mound and actually throwing innings. Because you've said it multiple times on a per inning basis, he might have been the best starter in the league. And it's kind of crazy to think about that with like how good Itoh and Moinelo were, but like that's how good like John Duplantier was. And it'll be interesting to see like what Yokohama does with him. Now that he's in Yokohama, if they change anything or if it's just like, hey man, go out there and do the exact same thing you did last year. Like just go out there and figure it out. So yeah, I think I'm highest on Taneichi. I think Taneichi has, like, if you ask me in tier 2 who has a chance to win the Sagamore, I think Atsuki Taneichi is like the clear cut like chance to, because I think he can get to the innings total. I think he can strike out a bunch of guys, and I think that's gonna matter. So yeah, I think that's why I have him up at 5 more than like other guys.
Yeah, so I think Duplantier and Taneichi, both of them, you could definitely make the case that they're tier 1 caliber, mostly because in Taneichi's case, like you said, his second half was just insanely good. September 27th, second to last start of the season, 15 strikeouts, 42 swinging strikes. Like, excuse me, like that's not normal. This guy was just on a whole nother level. And yeah, I mean, he raised the arm slot slightly, got the fastball to play better, and then that kind of had a domino effect on his splitter and slider, getting him more whiffs as well. And despite the fact that he had a pretty rough first half, I mean, it was an ERA around 4 for the first 2 to 3 months of the season, giving up a lot of home runs. He ended up finishing with the 3rd best swing and strike rate in MPB. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how insanely good that second half was. It's just about, can you find that consistency? You know, this is a guy who hasn't quite put it together yet for an entire season, at least when it comes to like surface level stats. So let's see if he can fully kind of unlock and become Lotte's new ace, like post Roki Sasaki. Duplantier is interesting because, yes, the innings concern makes him kind of like a Yamashita light for me, but his K percent last year at over 32% was 5% higher than Tatsuya Imai. So obviously among pitchers with at least 90 innings, that was the best in MPB. That being said, what gives me a little bit of pause is that his swinging strike rate was 3% lower than Imai. So he was only number 6 in MPB when it comes to swing and strike rate. A lot of his success was actually like getting called strikes on top of the whiffs. And so that's obviously not quite as sticky. Like you want to see guys that can just absolutely blow away in terms of getting whiffs. That being said, Duplantier, like his entire mix obviously played incredibly well at the MPB level. And the interesting part about his offseason was Hanshin lets him walk, which was initially a surprise. You're thinking, okay, maybe some MLB teams are interested on him, but then the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks swoop in, and it's like, okay, he is almost guaranteed to sign with them, was the report, before that deal suddenly fell through. Who knows if that's related to medicals, but obviously I think that plays into the concern with him, because he didn't pitch really at all after August. And then he looked really rusty in that game too. I think it was in the Japan series. He just got rocked, knocked out in the second inning. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to, the K rate's not going to be 32% this year, but let's say he gets to 110, 120 innings, it's still going to be like 27, 28%. And he was actually working deep into games when he was feeling good in June. So it's like, I don't really see that as a big concern. Early in the season, he was more of like a 5-6 inning guy, but then he started to work into that 7th and 8th inning a little bit more consistently. Maybe that's what contributed to the injury. I mean, I can't say for sure, but in general, like great stats, Duplantier, Taneichi, they're elite.
What do you think Duplantier's best pitch is? Because I kind of go back and forth on like what his best pitch is. I think for Taneichi, like the fact I think he just dominates right-handed hitters. Like that's what makes him kind of like special. Whereas like for Duplantier, it was like kind of hard to like pick out like his best pitch because he does everything like pretty well. So it's kind of hard to pick out his best pitch sometimes.
Yeah, I think it might be the curve.
Yeah.
When it comes to my model, had him at a 74 on the curve, which is, I mean,
Okay.
obviously insanely good.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of hard to discern in MPB because they don't differentiate, but he has like a sweeper and a slider.
Yeah, he
They
does. He
blend
does have
in
the
in
shorter, yeah, the shorter
yeah,
pitch.
they
Yeah.
blend in within like Japanese pitch tracking, so you can't really tell like which ones played better. But like I think both those pitches are actually like in their own way very effective for him, like the sweeper in terms of getting chased from righties, for instance. The fastball I don't think is necessarily elite, but it's good enough. And
And he puts
um,
guys
I-
away with it, I guess, is like the
yeah,
thing about it. Yeah, he puts guys away. So yeah, I feel you.
yeah. So Duplantier going to be exciting to see him now heading the Bay Stars rotation. Now, after those guys, we do get into some discrepancies with our list. So I have Duplantier 5, Taneichi 6, Chihiro Sumida of Seibu at 7, Shoki Murakami of Hanshin at 8, Koki Kitayama of Nippon Ham at 9, and Hiroto Takahashi of Chunichi at 10. Those 6 actually make up my entire tier 2. You have
Okay.
Taneichi 5, Duplantier 6, Kaima Taira of Seibu at 7, Forrest Whitley, new import of Yomiuri at 8, and then that's where your tier 2 ends. I don't have Taira or Whitley inside my top 10 because the former is converting back from a reliever. The latter has never pitched an MPB and has some injury concerns of his own. I'd rather be too low on these guys than too high, I think. So Taira is 12 for me, and Whitley is 23. But sell me
Okay.
on Taira and Whitley as your number 7 and 8.
I think Tyra's closer for you, obviously, because it's 7 and 12. I think just Tyra's ability to mix and have this deep mix. I think his stuff is legit. Like I was talking about Miyagi earlier. Like everyone, again, because he's a smaller lefty, it's like, oh, if he ever comes stateside, like he's probably a reliever because he's been a reliever most of his career. And like you and I have both been on the same page that like, if he comes stateside, like I throw him in a rotation. Like I think he's that good. I think his stuff is that good. He touches 98, to 100. With the fastball, even if that comes down because he's starting a little bit more. I'm a little bit concerned about the injury that he picked up in the WBC that kind of got him off the roster, and he came back to spring training and just wanted to focus on the season. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I still think his upside is. I think these are like the two highest ceiling upside guys in MPB when we're talking about like outside the next like 5 or 6 people. So maybe I'm just chasing upside at that point, and I didn't do it throughout my entire rankings. But I think with these two guys in particular, their stuff is so good that I could see Taira being like, we look up and it's like, oh, he has a 2.2 ERA and is like dominating dudes, or has like a sub 2 ERA and like an ERA plus that's like insanely good. His ERA plus as a reliever was as high as all these other guys, but you also have to factor in he's just not throwing that many innings. So yeah, I think that's where I landed with him, was like I just think the stuff is so good. He's got the sweeper, the short slider, the cutter, the sinker. I mean, he has 7 or 8 pitches. And they're all really good, and they all move, and he separates them really well. And yeah, that's why I'm buying into Taira. Whitley's a funny one. I watched 3 or 4 minor league AAA starts, and I watched bad ones and good ones, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like off in how I was evaluating him. I think he's gonna throw enough strikes to dominate MPB. Like I think he's going to be very, very good over there. There's a chance it blows up in my face, and he's more of like the 23 range that you're talking about. I totally get that. I think for him, adding a pitch like the short like lifted slider cutter that he throws, that the Rays were kind of having him just like throw in zone and like pound the zone. I don't think a lot of Japanese hitters are going to see like guys pound the zone with like this lifted like cutter slider that he's throwing at like 90 miles an hour. So I think he can like find ways to like kind of work around walks is my biggest thing on him too, is like, okay, let's say he walks 4 guys in an outing, but then he strikes out 9 or 10. He can like kind of work around those walks, and you kind of saw that in like the good and bad outings for him in terms of pitching in Durham. I sadly did not go get to see him in Durham, and I wish I had, because if people don't know, I live in the Triangle in North Carolina, so I was about 30 minutes away from him sometimes, and I just didn't get out to the ballpark to see him. But when I've seen him in person before, he just has this way where his stuff is so good that, yes, he might walk 4 guys in an outing or 5 guys in an outing, but I still think he can keep the runs down to like a 1 or 2 earned runs in an outing, and maybe get to 5 or 6 innings instead of like, let's say 7 or 8. And I still think that's good enough to be a top 10 pitcher in MPB. Like, I understand it's crazy projection, and I don't think most of the time I would be like, a guy who's never pitched in the league before is going to be this successful early. But his pitch mix is just different. I think it's just different, and I think he's going to find success, especially with a team like Yomiuri. I think they're just going to let him cook. Like, they're just going to be like, go out there and throw like what you think is comfortable, and then we'll make the adjustments as we go. So yeah, I'm high on Forrest, but I did message you. If he flames out, I'm gonna be really mad. Like, if he's like not a top 30 pitcher, I'm gonna be kind of upset, because I have big aspirations for him this season.
Yeah, the blueprint for Whitley is kind of what Duplantier did last year, or you can go back, a little bit further. There's been guys like Nick Martinez who obviously find
That's a
success.
good
I
one.
mean, the differences in pitching philosophy between the minor leagues in the U.S. and MPB are just so blatantly different, right? Like, in the minor leagues, it's like you're obviously chasing stuff. You're just not really pitching for the team as much as you're trying to
You're trying to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to get better. It's more of development. I think he will actually keep the walks at bay in Japan, because, you don't want to give up too many free passes when the long ball is not really that big of a concern. So you can kind of just pound the zone. I think he can lower the velo on average 1 to 2 ticks, and just more consistently throw strikes. I saw him throwing a bullpen at camp for the Giants, and Taisei was behind him and really was enjoying watching the bullpen, just like amazed at his raw stuff. He's also a guy that is going to be a big test in terms of how far can like the stuff model carry you, because you look at his MLB stats. It's a 10.57 ERA. Granted, only 15 innings. It's a FIP over 6. Obviously, this guy did not have success at the major league level. Had injuries in there. Some bad luck. Not the best opportunity. I think if he was given, a longer leash with, say, Tampa Bay in 2026, he could have actually done damage. But obviously, he's going to be coming to Japan, and then I think he will be the type that can propel himself back towards a major league deal down the line. When it comes to Taira, for me, I described him as embodying the essence of a finesse pitcher, but having the raw stuff good enough to overpower any lineup, which is to say, he throws 7 pitches, and he was throwing 7 pitches as a reliever, mostly because I think he always wanted to start. He was never happy about being pushed back to the closer role following, a 2023 season in which he absolutely dominated as a starter. Then he got hurt in 2024. They pushed him back into relief. His ratios as a reliever were not like, jumping out off the page. Like, it's 24% K rate, 10% walk rate. Like, those are not the kind of ratios that I would look at for a reliever and be like, this guy's going to be a top starter. But as you said, he has the history, he has the stuff, he has the smarts. I mean, him and Itoh, when it comes to like understanding pitch shapes and sequencing, I think are among the highest level in Japan. And to me, it's almost like I don't think he was pitching for strikeouts as a closer, which is
Yeah.
pretty unique because usually, if you're a high octane reliever, you want to just rack up as many whiffs as possible. And I think he does that to an extent, but can he also knows how to locate pitches to get softer contact. He had a 55% ground ball rate, so I almost feel like he could succeed in multiple facets. Like he could be maybe only a 22% K rate guy, but get a lot of ground balls type of thing, and then find his way into the top 10. I think the injury he just sustained is not that big of a deal. It's a calf strain. He
Hmm.
said that he's good to go for the WBC, but basically the manager Hirokazu Iba to pull them out just for his own sake, for the betterment of his career, which Lions fans were very happy about. That they were like, don't push this guy, please. Like, let him just focus on the season. I
Yeah.
understand that. So
He's gonna
yeah,
have
I
to be their
think
dude, right? Because of they don't have. I mean, I think he's gonna have to be their dude without Imai there. I mean,
he's
that's
basically
their
taking
ace.
Imai's spot in the rotation, but that does transition very well to Chihiro Sumida, who I think is right there with Taira, and I have him
Yeah.
ranked higher. So I have Sumida and Kitayama, I think a little bit higher than you. I mean, we have them ranked in a similar range. I understand Sumida has a bad fastball, but I like that he has these two elite putaways in the changeup and splitter. The curveball was also better last year. 2 years ago, it didn't really do all that great, but he was finding a lot of called strikes with it this past season. And the numbers have literally improved across the board in 4 consecutive seasons. So ever since this guy was drafted in 2021, had a bit of a shaky rookie year. He's gotten better every step of the way since. So I put a lot of faith in him. And then Kitayama, he had the second best ERA in MPB last year behind Moinelo. So that's obviously, he's doing something right. But then, the kind of downside with him is it's fringy command. He's kind of the new Imai for me in terms of like having the raw
Yeah.
stuff to navigate any lineup, but his consistency and ceiling are slightly capped just because he doesn't have the best strike throwing ability, especially against righties. Really high walk rate. It's like 12% against righties for his career. But big fastball, pretty deep arsenal, as many other fighters pitchers have. So do you have any other concerns with Sumida and Kitayama, and just what are your general thoughts on those guys?
I think I have him a little bit lower, but they're still top 10 pitchers for me. I was looking at this. The grouping of Sumida, Koki, Shoki, and Hiroto. I was like, I could put these guys in any order, and I think I'd be okay with it, and I'd be able to justify it. I think what separates Sumida. I mean, you posted it like his a clip of like some changeups from like the premier tournament that he was pitching in, and dude, the changeups got him. Like it is. I'm gonna flat out. It's a 70 grade changeup. Like it is disgusting. It is nasty. Go out to your trash can, pull something out of it. Like that is the most disgusting thing that he throws. Like it is just he cuts it. He can fade it. I think he's like that hybrid. We've talked about this before. He's kind of that hybrid between like being able to like pronate, but then also like supinate a little bit. But then his breaking balls like aren't that good, which is kind of weird that he like can't get
Yeah.
around the ball and like get his breaking balls to be that high. So I think for me, that's what caps him as a pitcher is like the fastball isn't that great. And the breaking balls aren't awesome either in terms of like shape and velo, but the off-speed pitchers are so gross that if he just gets to 2 strikes, he's putting dudes away. Like he's like that. That's how I view him, and to me, that makes him like one of my like most fun pitchers to watch. Like I think he kind of just like figures it out and just like kind of makes it work. This might not be the best comp, but kind of like change up first pitchers. I wrote up Parker Messick this past off season for Prospects Live. Pretty similar, like change up first. The fastball isn't like great velo. I think Parker's fastball has a little bit more zip, a little bit more jump. He has some deception there. But in terms of like the changeup being like this really good pitch from a lefty and like the ability to like fade it and cut it, like I think they're in like a similar boat where they're just gonna find ways to get outs and kind of get through lineups. And so that's why I really like him. And then with Koki, I mean, I just think Kitayama has like I think the fastball is really good, and I think it's really good against righties, and that's what like makes him like once he gets that fastball in for a strike and he gets ahead, then he can go to like this deeper arsenal where he does throw like a this like cutter slider. He throws a knuckle curve. He also throws like a bigger slider. He throws a changeup too. Like I think he threw those like 5 or 3 times. Like he didn't throw them that much this year, but it's just like the idea that he does have this deeper mix. I'd almost want him to mix more because I don't think his arsenal is that great. Like the knuckle curve is good and the fastball is good. But he doesn't really have anything else outside of that. And the splitter's good. I should say the splitter's like maybe his best pitch. So he could ride those 3 pitches, but I almost think he could like lean into the deeper mix and kind of go the opposite way of where like Itoh was like shortening the arsenal. I think Kitayama could actually go the other way and like deepen the arsenal and just throw like more pitches and kind of keep guys off of the fastball and off of the split. Because again, when he gets to the split, like he can put dudes away, but he can also get like ground balls with it and stuff like that. And I think that's what like makes him really, really good. So I like those 2 guys, and that's why they're in my top 10. Like if you're in my top 10 in MPB, you're doing something right. So I think those 2 guys are definitely doing something right.
Kitayama came within 2 outs of a no-hitter on June 19th at Tokyo Dome. I think it was a splitter with 2 strikes that caught a little bit too much of the plate to Tsugumi Oshiro, ended up being taken deep. So he finished
Yeah.
with a 1-hitter, lost the shutout as well. But yeah, I mean he's insanely talented.
It's
I
it's no
yeah.
hitter stuff every time he goes out there. Like it is no hitter stuff. So to your point.
Yeah, for sure. And again, needs to clean up the command a little bit. But also like he can just kind of let it eat and it's fine. It's fine if he's walking like 8 to 9% of guys, just needs to keep it below double digits. And then with Sumida, he kind of reminds me in some ways of like Tsuyoshi Wada from back in the day.
Hmm.
Again, kind of great changeup. Just a comp I thought of because Sumida was on Wada's YouTube channel the other day, and I think you know, as both similar kind of soft tossing southpaws, they have a lot they can relate to. And Sumida is joining the WBC team now, kind of, you know, in a way replacing Taira. Like he wasn't directly his replacement; he's replacing Daichi Ishii. But you know, you swap out one Seibu pitcher for another. I think Sumida is going to be really good. You know, lefty on lefty changeups as well. Like he can do that, and the change and split, like I said, I think those 2 pitches can really carry him to being a top 10, even a top 5 pitcher. And then we've seen him raise the fastball velocity like, you know, 0.5 miles per hour per year. So even though it's not the best shape, he locates it low in the zone, he hides it fairly well. If you can get up to like 93.2 on that, or yeah, 92 something, like that's gonna end up playing like pretty average, and then just let the rest of his arsenal play. Now 2 guys I have in my top 10 that you don't are Shoki Murakami and Hiroto Takahashi. I thought you would be higher on Takahashi than me because I think you're the Takahashi guy. But I got Murakami at 8. You have him at 11. I have Takahashi at 10. You have him at 12. Again, this is not a big difference, but I wanted to have them in my top 10 just symbolically. They're sort of on similar timelines.
Yeah.
Takahashi is a lot younger, but in the sense that Murakami won Rookie of the Year and MVP in 2023. 2024 was a small step backward, but then he bounced back in 2025. Takahashi was elite in 2024, but a down year in 2025. So in 2 of the past 3 years, they're like undisputed top 10, even top 5 pitchers, but one of the 3 years was disappointing relative to their standards. So tell me what you see in Shoki and Hiroto Takahashi.
Yeah. I was actually talking to my coworker because he did a lot of Takahashi charts in 2024, and I was kind of like, "Hey man, like, what's your like feel about him? Do you think he throws like too many fastballs? Do you think it's like a very fastball heavy arsenal?" And he was like, "Yeah, I remember in 2024 it'd be like a lot of fastballs, a decent amount of splits, um, but like it just wasn't like." A pure balance of like usage and like he throws that kind of like hard splitter type thing. I think he just took a step back because I think just everything like wasn't as good last year. Like the fastball just didn't play as well. I mean, it was a bad fastball last year in terms of like if you look at Bono's model, like XPV, like expected pitch value, it was like -5 overall, and like it got hammered against lefties. It was like -3.2. So yeah, I think in that aspect, it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, he's just gonna bounce back and like find the fastball again. But I do think maybe there was just something there mechanically. Maybe it was just coming out of his hand a little bit weird, and he just needs to find that movement again or find those ticks. And maybe in terms of velo. I also think the arsenal is kind of shallow. We've talked about this before. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it is shallow, and it is a lot of like if the fastball isn't good enough and it gets hammered, then that's the type of season he's going to put forward. But if the fastball's really, really good, like it was when we were arguably saying he might have been the best pitcher in the league, then it was like, okay, now he's going to cook because the fastball is just going to like eat guys up. And then he's going to get to the splinker and he's going to throw that by guys. And I do think his curve, like his knuckle slider and his curveball are like really good. Like I think they're good pitches, but I almost think he like doesn't throw them enough, and he just kind of leans into like this fastball splinker territory. I don't know how you feel about it. I feel like almost we should talk about Hiroto and then talk about Shoki because Hiroto's season was bad. Like it just wasn't good, and I don't really know how to like pinpoint why it was bad other than like the fastball just didn't perform. I don't even think the locations were that poor. It just didn't perform. Is what it came down to.
Yeah. 2024, he had a 200 ERA plus. 2025, he had a 99 ERA plus. So literally cut in half. His K minus BB rate also fell by 4%. Just wasn't striking dudes out. And I think you're right. It did kind of all stem from that fastball playing well below average. There was some mechanical inefficiency in there. And also, like, we do have to say, like, 2024, obviously he did a lot of things well, 1.38 ERA, one of the best in history, but he had like insanely good home run to fly ball luck. And then that kind of went in the other direction last year. I still think simply based on the fact that this guy is 23 years old, he has the right mentality. He trains with Yoshinobu Yamamoto a lot in the offseason. He got to a career high last year with 171 and 2/3. Like, there are
He did throw
aspects
a
of
lot.
his season that you can point to and say, hey, that's actually a step in the right direction. Like now, if he just combines like the workload from last year with the rate stats from 2 years ago, this is like the best pitcher in the league again. Obviously, velocity wise, sitting 95, getting up to 97, 98 pretty regularly. Like not many guys in MPB can match that. That was like Tatsuya Imai, Shunpeita Yamashita type things. But yeah, I think when it comes to his main hurdle, it is lefties, because last year against lefties, 24% CSW rate, 16% strikeout rate. I mean, he was frankly just bad against lefties, and he has a limited feel for spin. I think he has a very low spin fastball, which that's fine in terms of generating ground balls. That helps him. Based on like his more pitch to contact type stuff, but it's not going to like dominate in the way that a Itoh or like a Shunpeita can with the power fastball in the high ride. So I feel like he needs to find another tick on the fastball, almost like get up to 96, in which case maybe you can start blowing guys away in MPB, or needs to spam like the splinker more. The cutter actually did really well for him last year. He upped the usage on that
Yeah,
like
he kind
6%.
of he kind of spikes the curveball and like gets behind it, but it's like a gyro death ball. Like he doesn't actually
Yeah.
like get over and like get like the ball to move. And same with the cutter, he's like behind the ball. So to your point, he doesn't get like to the side of the ball and like create actual movement. And maybe that's like a pure issue for him. I don't know. Do you think he can like he just like throw that cutter more even though he's like behind the ball just to get guys off of the barrel, like just do something different than just throw like fastballs against lefties, because I think that's kind of what he like fell into the trap of, is just he threw a bunch of fastballs against lefties and it was like, okay, but your fastball isn't performing, so we got to go to something else to like figure it out. Like do you think there's a remedy there, I guess?
Yeah, I think he needs to to lower the usage or just diversify it with cutters and sinkers. Like if his fastball shape isn't good, the logical, band-aid to that is to just throw more sinkers and cutters, and then you have the variety of fastballs that can kind of mitigate the issues. But yeah, I think he should just throw the splinker more. Like you look at what Iori Yamasaki did last year with a similar
Yeah,
kind of
that's
hard
good.
splitter. It's like he had a career best season. He obviously located better, I think, than Hiroto, like below the zone. But when you can get up to like 92, 93 on that pitch, just use it more. Just use it more against, I think, both handedness. And he's still, Takahashi last year had among the best ground ball rates in MPB at 56%. In fact, for qualifiers, I'm pretty sure that was number one. So he can still be very effective. I'm just not quite sure if he's going to get back to that, top three pitcher in MPB territory. Last year at this time, we were discussing like Hiroya Miyagi or Takahashi number one, and we both said Miyagi a little bit better, kind of going against the grain there, just because we had some concerns about Takahashi in terms of, again, limited feel for spin, maybe not having the same swing and miss upside, despite what the velocity would indicate. Just like, Miyagi's like 3 to 4 miles per hour lower than him and just gets a lot more use out of his fastball because he locates it better. He has a lower slot. So maybe that's another thing, like play around with his slot, because he does kind of have, he was mimicking Yoshinobu's mechanics at one point. Then he got away from that.
Yeah.
He kind of has like a quick delivery at times and then just throws high three quarters. Like, what do you think about his slot?
It's a pretty standard like release and like tempo. Like I don't know if he's throwing hitters off with like timing, like I think hitters can like kind of get him a rhythm against him. I found it interesting. He threw his sinker, like that sinker that he was trying to add. He threw it down and away to lefties. But usually, if you're gonna add a sinker, you're gonna shove it into like same-handed hitters, and that's what
Yeah.
like Itoh does. Like Itoh added the sinker, and he basically exclusively threw it to like righties, and it felt like Hiroto was like throwing it to like lefties down and away. Like I don't really know what. I think he was just trying to like make anything work because he was like, this is not the same like production that I've had in the past. Like I think it was a shock to him that like his fastball just wasn't playing like the way it usually does. Um, but to your point, he's low spin guy. He has to create timing disruption, get extension. Like you have to do something different if you're going to be like a low spin guy like that. Or you got to do like, let's get really behind the ball and spike it and try to get like a death ball shape. Like you got to do something else to kind of like make it work. Shoki's the interesting one for me because I could see him going all the way up to 7. Like I could see him being as good as Taira. Like Shoki's just consistent. Like he's the dude for Hanshin, and I feel like he takes the ball, he just does his thing. I don't think his production stats. You can correct me. I was looking at like I don't think his ERA plus and like that stuff. Like it's good, but it's not like as good as like some of the elite guys. But he's just consistent. He takes the ball, every 6 days, and he kind of does his thing. And I mean, he throws a bunch of shapes, and I think that's the coolest thing about him is he just throws all these different shapes and he kind of gets all these different shapes and the fastball's good and the changeup's good and he just finds a way to like make it all work, and he doesn't really get ground balls except against lefties. He occasionally gets ground balls, but he's not like a huge ground ball pitcher. He's more of a fly ball pitcher, and
Yeah.
it kind of works inside of Koshi. And so yeah, I like him. I really do. But maybe that's weird considering I have him at 11. I mean, again, it's not that much difference, but like, yeah, I probably could have been higher on Hiroto than in Shoki than you are, because I think every time we talk about Shoki, I'm like, I like Shoki more than you do, but you have him higher than me. So maybe like, what is your case for like having Shoki, I guess, higher than I do? Because I
Yeah.
just think he does everything like really well. I just think he does everything really well.
He's almost like the righty Miyagi for me in terms of the ceiling is a little bit lower, but the floor with Shoki Murakami is just incredibly high. Like this guy's pitchability, his sequencing, look at how he, in the first 2 innings of almost all his starts, just loves to just toy with guys. He flips in this sub 55 mile per hour ephus.
It is so nasty.
He threw the slowest pitch, I think, in recorded MPB history last year as well, at like 45 miles per hour or something.
Okay, he got below Itoh's ephus, because Ito's been pretty low on his ephus before, so
yeah,
it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me.
Itoh hasn't thrown like the true ephus like in games that much over the past few years, whereas Shoki, as well as his teammate Kotaro Otake, these guys, they love it. They just like, here, try and hit it, and most of the time they either take it or they just foul it off, like just completely pull the hell out of it, and it ends up obviously going for a strike and benefiting him. He has comfort in a true like 6 or 7 pitch mix. I mean, he throws almost all his pitches over 5% of the time in terms of like the actual number he threw. Like 6 of his pitches he threw over 175 times. So it's like he has comfort in all of these shapes, and he locates the fastball well. Like you were saying with what Hiroto's lacking, like he can use the sinker, jamming righties inside as well. And then to me, though, the thing that really sets Shoki apart is this split change. Kind of looks like a splitter off the hand, but he calls it just a straight changeup. And I mean, the whiff rate on that was over 50%. This guy carves with that pitch. He can use it to righties. He can use it to lefties. And again, when it comes to like his raw like strikeout upside, it's not, there with the elite guys. He's more of a low 20% strikeout rate guy, but he doesn't walk anybody. So he's always in the zone. He attacks guys, and last year 175 innings was top 3 in all of MPB. So I feel like, and maybe we'll talk about Hiroto Saiki, his teammate, later. Saiki has consistently had the better ERAs, but for me, Murakami is just more consistent and quite frankly has more room for error, because they're almost like polar opposite pitchers. Just
they are.
Like Saiki is just like the completely one-dimensional, like almost all fastballs, and then he has a good splitter, whereas Shoki is just like average to above average on a bunch of pitches, and then one elite split change, and he really takes it to a really deep level with that. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Shoki Murakami even actually has like outside chance at winning the Sawamura, just because he's going to have the innings. He's probably going to have the ERA. Hanshin has one of the best defenses in the league, so I'm very high on him this year as well.
Yeah. The split change. This is a good conversation. He has 6 or 7 pitches, but it's 6 or 7 pitches with 55 to 60 grit command. Like, he commands everything well. And I can't even say that about Itoh, because Itoh, like, he doesn't command the kick change. He doesn't command certain pitches inside of his arsenal. So, I mean, if you're talking about a guy who has a deep mix and just understands how to, like, move pitches around the zone and stuff like that, like, he might be the best pure pitch executor in MPB. And I think that's why he's successful, is he just executes every time out, pitch by pitch. Just continues to execute, and that's what makes him really, really good.
He had a 120 location plus on his fastball, according to Bono's model last year. So again, only 91 miles per hour, but locates it so well. And also a 0.93 whip over the past 3 seasons combined. Again, just does not give up base runners. That raises the floor significantly, despite not having like crazy swing and miss upside per se. Let's look at are 11 through 20. This is, for me, like a big tier 3, which is to say, like, these 9 or 10 guys are fairly interchangeable for me, even if I have certain guys ranked higher. Brandon has a few smaller tiers scattered in here, but I do want to stay on the topic of Hanshin with Haruto Takahashi and Hiroto Saiki. So I have Haruto Takahashi all the way up at 11.
Ooh,
I think he's better than Saiki. I gave him strong consideration for the top 10, but he's not on your list. And so I kind of wonder, like, is it the terrible injury history with him? Do you like Saiki's upside more because he's younger and he throws harder? Like, who is the true number 2, I guess, after Shoki in this rotation?
I think Haruto has the best chance to be the number 2. For me, I think it's the injury history. He just didn't throw that many innings, and it isn't like he didn't throw that many innings, and the stuff is like really good with like high velo. But I do concede like he's good, and especially in MPB, he is good. Um, I just think I'd rather have Saiki, even with all the flaws that we talk about Hiroto, and just kind of how we don't love that he's fastball forward. I mean, if I don't love Hiroto Takahashi because he throws too many fastballs, then I'm definitely not gonna like Saiki because he throws a ton. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think to me that's why I think I have him as like the second Hanshin guy is mainly because of the injury history. But maybe you can touch on the injury history, and maybe it's not that big of a deal. But he hasn't thrown that many innings. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is the 1 or 2 starts I've seen, he's been really, really good, but it's just like he hasn't thrown that many innings. Like, yeah.
No, you're right. The injury history is not just bad. It's awful, sadly. I mean, he had Tommy John in 2022, shoulder surgery 2023, ulnar surgery 2024. Then he got like a rod removed from his elbow.
Yeah.
And then in game 4 of the Japan series, he took a comebacker off his arm and had to get taken out of the game. It's just like this guy is chronically infected with the injury bug, unfortunately. He hasn't even cleared 50 innings in a season since 2020. So again, basically doesn't throw. So I don't fault you for like not even not even considering him as like a
Yeah. I
as
saw him
a
on your list and
as
I
a
was like, I'll
yeah.
look, but I was like, yeah, he doesn't really throw any. So yeah,
But
that was just me.
but the reason I have him this high is since the start of 2024, 197 ERA, 27% strikeout rate, 68% ground ball rate. This guy's a complete outlier in
Yeah.
terms of his sinker is just it breaks every single model I've seen. So it had a 215 stuff plus for Bono last year, and then on my model, which mind you is a 20 to 80 scale, he broke my scale and it's a 87 sinker last year. So it just nobody can put it in the air. Nobody can even hit a line drive off it. It's just like a ground ball machine for him. Like I would love to know what the average launch angle on this. It's like way into the negatives. Um, and then he really does just throw mostly all fastballs. Like it's four seam, sinker, cutter. That makes up the vast majority of his mix. And then he has a really nice like sweeper-ish type pitch as well, which he uses as kind of the put away, especially against lefties. But yeah, I just think Haruto Takahashi, if he can stay healthy, they call him the glass ace. Like this guy could be a top 5 pitcher in the league.
Yeah.
It's just like more than likely what's going to happen is he's going to start the season and then he's going to be out for the next 3 months and then maybe
Have
come
they
back for the
thought
playoffs.
about putting him in the bullpen and just having him throw like 3 innings every 2 days or 3 innings every 3 days? Like, I'd rather have that ground ball weapon in the bullpen. Like, we have
Yeah.
guys on second and or first and second. We need an out. We need a double play
Yeah.
ball. Like, get this man in the game. Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's how I would deploy him. But I totally get from like the mindset of like he is one of your better pitchers. So
And then tell me about Saiki. You have Saiki at number 17. I don't have Saiki in my top 25.
yeah,
I think that's maybe I'm being a little bit too down on him because I mean this guy's had a sub 2 ERA like for 4 straight years now, but there are some things about his underlying numbers I'm just not a big fan of. Obviously wanted to get posted to MLB as well. That didn't happen. Do you think Saiki can take another step forward and get more strikeouts, for instance, in 2026?
yeah, I do. If he changes things, the problem is I think he does what he thinks he does best, and that's pound the zone with forcing fastballs. And it's a good forcing fastball. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's just like you almost throw it too much to where it like brings everything down, and then metrically it doesn't look as good. Or even like advanced stuff, it like just doesn't look as good. Like you're saying, like Bono's model, it's a negative 3.1 xBV last year overall. And it kind of an even split between lefties and righties in terms of xBV. So like I don't know. Part of me is like I'm giving him like a hat tip, like your numbers are just too good for me to ignore, so you're probably going to be in my top 20. But I don't love anything he does as well. That's why when he was getting the MLB talk, you and I were talking to each other like, wait, MLB teams are in on him? Like we understood why, because it's extension, fastball. You can figure his mix
Yeah,
out.
destroyed the Dodgers.
Yeah, he destroyed the Dodgers in that spring game, but it's also like the underlying stuff for him is just it's not good. But this is where I'm not gonna like talk myself into him not being a top 20 pitcher, because what is the point of baseball? What is the point of the game? To get guys out.
Yep.
And to get on to the next inning, and he does that better than most pitchers in MPB. So yeah, he's down at 17, but you could argue from a production standpoint, he's a top 12 pitcher. Like his numbers are good. Like that's where I don't know if I would give like Otaki the benefit of the doubt or some other guys the benefit of the doubt. But for Saiki, he has stuff. Like that's not the question. It's just
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
for
He
sure.
just throws his fastball. Like
Fastball.
I don't really understand it. Like he just throws his fastball a lot. I really don't
There's
get
something I feel like we are missing because, again, when it comes to like him being a pronator and not getting to a lot of different shapes, and he has the high slot, it's like I don't think there are many avenues for him to really expand past where he is now. But the fastball, I mean, it gets a lot of pop-ups. Like guys get under it all the time, and it's like over 2,600 RPM. It's just like it's such an outlier pitch for him.
Yeah.
That there is something he does right, and it fits like what Hanshin's doing there. So I don't want to overlook Saiki, but there's a part of me that feels like he might run into the Shosei Togo problem one of these years where everything just falls apart and he's not good at all. Maybe that doesn't happen. Yeah.
I will say he creates extension and outlier things that Togo doesn't. So maybe he fights off that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's just like I think with Togo, my concern for him always was like it's such a small mix with
it's mundane.
A lot
it's
of
boring.
it riding on fastball usage plus getting guys to chase at the splitter. And then once he wasn't really getting that, he was just, getting pounded in the zone. So I think Saiki could run into that same problem just because maybe he needs to separate. I think the splitter is very good. But then the slider/cutter, which are, I think, actually two different pitches, but they get lumped into one for the way the models look at it. It's like he needs a little bit more separation there on those, I think.
Do you think he can get to a death ball shape? Because that's like my big thing with him is like, okay, if you can't create spin, can you like get behind the ball, spike it like Takahashi does, like Hiroto, and then you just get the ball to like drop, like you get depth, like that's how you get like a glove side breaker. I don't know. I've thought about it. Like I've spent like probably too long, like maybe an hour and a half, thinking about like, can this guy get to a death ball shape? Like, can he do something to get to a different glove side breaker? Like, I don't think he's ever gonna get to like a sweeper. Like, that's not. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, maybe he can, like with a slight difference in slot or like wrist angle,
orientation.
Yeah, orientation. I'm not sure there's a precedent for it in terms of like his teammates though. Like usually when it's a team like Nippon Ham, I'm like always confident in like, oh yeah, this guy can have this shape because they have like Itoh and great pitching coaches.
He's like, actually, hold up, let me message Darvish and like see what he thinks.
Yeah,
like,
it's like they kind of have those resources. I mean, Hanshin, don't get me wrong, is an excellent pitching organization. I'm just not sure they're like super invested on those types of shapes necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's look at the rest of our bottom half of the top 20 here. So, another guy I have pretty high is Yutaro Ishida at 16. He's just outside your top 20. I just wanted to kind of highlight him. We don't have to spend that much time on him just because I think he's another kind of outlier pitcher.
Yeah.
Low slot, running fastball, sweeper off of it. He's not like insane in terms of swinging strikes, and yet he had a K rate over 25% last year. Sierra was incredibly good. I mean, he was like top 2 in the league in Sierra, despite an ERA being closer to 4. So I'm very high on Ishida. Like, I think he needs to add maybe another pitch or get better with the changeup to help him against
You think
lefties.
you can
But
have like a bridge pitch in between the sweeper and like the runner fastball, like just get something like in between those two,
yes,
maybe? Yeah.
but otherwise, like I think he will continue to just kill righties. He's almost like the lesser version of Imai in the sense that like I don't think righties can just touch him. So that's what I like about Ishida. Let's lump all the sophomores together.
That's cool.
Haruya Tanaka, Kota Tatsu, Yumeto Kanemaru all just finished their rookie seasons. Now Tanaka and Tatsu were prep guys, so they've been in the minors for a while. Kanemaru was a true rookie straight out of college. Um, how do you rank Tanaka, Tatsu, Kanemaru? Who do you think has the most upside, and any concerns with them?
Uh, so I really like Tanaka's splitter. I think it's good. I think it gets a lot of like it gets a decent amount of ground balls. It just gets whiff. Um, I really like the locations of it sometimes. He does kind of like leave it up, but he still gets whiff on it when it is up in the zone. And with Tatsu, he's probably the one I've watched the least. But if we're talking about splitters that absolutely are like nasty, his is like one of those ones where it's like, yeah, his splitter's nasty, and he gets to all these different shapes, and I think that does help him like figure out how to navigate like it's a decent fastball, right? Like he's sitting like 90, 91 for the most part. I think he gets
Yeah,
to
a
around
little
there.
bit higher even. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit higher even. So I think he can just like navigate. And then for me, just like looking at stuff, I've only seen like one start of his, maybe like one and a half starts. But looking at like other advanced stuff and just looking at like your model or Bono's model, it's clear that like the splitter is very good and just like gets guys out. And yeah, I think it's all about just like getting to the splitter and like not even necessarily putting guys away, just getting to the splitter with a chance to like throw it against not only lefties but also righties. I think righties it's like very good. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on those two guys. And then Sotani was the last one, right? That we were touching on.
Kanemaru.
Oh, Kanemaru, sorry. I was watching Kanemaru today. Just to like kind of prepare. Sato took him deep to like deep center earlier this year on like a sweeper away, and I was like, all right, Kanemaru, don't worry about that because there's only like two guys in the league who could hit the ball out from like
Yeah.
that pitch. The one thing I'll say about Yumeto or Utaro is his his command is plus. Like he has plus command, and he just like knows how to work the zone. The one thing I would like to see more from him is I want to see like more off speed usage to like hitters. He kind of like falls in love with like the sweeper and the sweeping curveball and the little like shorter, tighter slider that he throws sometimes, and like he tries to back foot those pitches rather than like throwing off speed pitches. I think he should lean into the split and the changeup. And what I found fascinating was like he throws his changeup with like a two seam, like he's across the tracks, and then on his split, it's like a fork ball, but he's like on the
Mm,
horseshoe basically. So he's kind of getting like what we were talking about with Azuma is like the UFO like spinning look, but then also like the
right.
depthy sink of like the changeup. So he has those two different off speeds. I almost want him to throw those more, and he kind of like not that he falls in love with the breakers. I guess that's the wrong way for me to put it, but like he'll just throw the breakers a little too much sometimes, and that's where I'm like, I don't love that from Kanemaru's perspective. But like, how do you see the sophomores? Because like, I think you were like super high on Kanemaru, right? Like, you thought he was like one of the best pitchers coming out of the
Yep.
draft.
I don't think we've seen the best of Kanemaru yet. I think that was just like a sneak taste, some sneak preview. Like that was maybe like 60 to 70% of his actual skill set. Shugo Maki, obviously one of the best hitters in the league last year, said that the best fastball he saw last year was Kanemaru. And I mean,
Yeah, it's good.
to me, Kanemaru is like the he has the highest potential of turning into a Miyagi type in the sense that I don't think he's going to necessarily run up the velo into like mid to high 90s consistently, but he's going to be sitting in that 92, 93 range. He's going to spot it well. He has excellent command. This guy's college numbers were absolutely gaudy. I mean, he's playing in, probably the second best college competition in Japan in terms of the Kansai League, and he was literally just not allowing a run for like 50 straight innings. So the dude just didn't get hit. When
Like
I
doing
saw
it
him
in the
live,
ACC, if people want a
yeah.
comparison, that's like not allowing a run in the ACC, basically, is what he was
And when
doing.
I saw him live at the Samurai Japan versus Europe series a couple years ago, Ibata selected him when he was still in college for the senior team. Just thought he looked super legit. The changeup for him last year wasn't great, so needs to rework that or maybe just scrap it. But yeah, I think he can go a long ways with kind of the fastball and then the slider sweeper. I like his splitter as well. I think Kanemaru is the type of guy that can really take a giant step forward. Like we both have him, I think, ranked 19th, but would not shock me if he ends the year as a top 10. Tatsu and Tanaka are very similar in the sense that obviously they're both just now entering their age 22 season, so super young. Tanaka throws harder, but like his fastball didn't necessarily grade out that well. It is very much like splitter based, and he can find a lot of success with just those two pitches, fastball, splitter. But on the farm, his other pitches were playing pretty well, like the cutter, the slider. So I would like to see him maybe expand the mix a little bit this year and just get more innings under his belt because he was load managed and didn't pitch at all, basically for the second half. Tatsu gets to a lot of shapes. I mean, he went to Driveline. He has that kind of death ball thing. Kind of has the splinter thing going as well. And he throws that splitter more than any starter in the league. For guys that threw at least 300 splitters or forkballs, on my database, I have him as the one who used the splitter the most, with the exception of Seiryu Uchi, who used it 35%. Tatsu was up at 34%. The only other like really good guys that are close to that range are Taneichi and Takahashi, and
Okay, that
those
makes
guys have
sense.
great
Yeah.
splitters. So he kind of spams it, gets a lot of grounders off of that, and then the fastball I don't think is necessarily like great, but it got good results for him on batted balls, so he wasn't allowing that much damage on it. I'm just like very curious with him. He's the guy I'm kind of like, there's like a black hole for me in terms of like projecting him. I don't know if he's gonna like regress because he doesn't, he was 22.5% strikeout rate. Like some of the underlying numbers don't exactly back that up. But then I look at the stuff and I'm like, yeah, I mean, the fighters are going to get even more out of him. So I think 15 is a good range for him. How about the other lefties, Katsuki Azuma and Ryuhei Sotani?
Mm.
What do you like about them?
Azuma, I think it's like the off speed is good, the changeup's good. He kind of creates these different shapes, like we've talked about in the past. He has actually 3 different off speed pitches. And like the fastball isn't good from like an XPV standpoint, or like if you looking at your model, it's probably not like a great stuff fastball, but he kind of uses it to like get to these other pitches, and he has the bigger sweeper. Then he has what I guess you would call a cutter, but that's basically just a short slider, and he kind of gets to these like different shapes. And for me, Azuma, like I think you said it in your article for Just Baseball, he is the like Framber Valdez of MPB. Like if you want quality starts, it's this guy. Like this guy will give you 6 innings, 2 runs every single time. 6 innings, 1 run. 7 innings, 1 run. Like he just finds a way to get outs. And much like Hiroto Saiki, I almost want to like reward that for being like, look, he figures it out. Like he finds a way to like get deep into games and to work his pitch count. And yes, his fastball isn't quote unquote good, but like it almost doesn't matter. And there's like a deception thing going on too, where
Yeah,
there's like a little bit of ride. It almost plays like an invisible a little bit in terms of maybe it's not like missing bats, but it's doing just enough to like set
missing
up everything
barrels
else.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, missing barrels is probably a good way of putting it. Like I don't think he's getting like whacked around with his fastball. Even if you look at like ex Wobicon and stuff like that, it's not like it's astronomically high. Like there's enough there to like where it survives. In terms of Sotani, I just like the way he throws, and maybe that's the wrong way of looking about it, but like I
he's
was
got kind of
watching
interesting mechanics.
Yeah, it's interesting mechanics. It's kind of like a timing thing too. Like he pauses. There's a little bit of like disruption there, and I kind of just like the way the ball comes out of his hands. And for me, the slider's good. And I think he tries to get to that slider as much as he can. And like, it's actually kind of funny because I think most people would be like, okay, if you're looking at a guy's arsenal in Japan, it's gonna be fastball, breaker. You're gonna have a deeper mix, and he's like, all right, it's fastball, slider, split. Like that's basically it. Like I'm just gonna throw these three pitches, and I'm gonna try to like outstuff you today. Like I'm just gonna work the ball around the zone and stuff like that. So in terms of like including him on the WBC roster, I get it because I think his fastball is good. I think the slider is good for like left on left stuff. And I do think the splitter in some aspects, I like to get your opinion on it. I don't think his splitter, he throws that well in terms of like locations. But again, he only throws three pitches, so he almost like has to make the splitter work. Even if like the locations aren't that great. Maybe that's like the ceiling or like the upside play for him is like the splitter locations get better. Would be my like thing for him, I
Yeah,
guess, you know?
I kind of feel like he needs to add like a changeup
Yeah, just
to
something.
help him against righties. But I will say like the slider, sweeper, whatever it is, it's good actually against righties too. Like he's one of these guys that can actually back foot it and get results against righties. I just don't love that he's like fastball slider only. Um, but he got so unlucky last year, it's insane. He had an ERA over 4 while having like top 10 numbers in every category
In
for
every other
like
category, yeah.
so I think again for me he was almost like a litmus test for can Hirokazu Ibata look at more numbers than just ERA, and he did. I think he's a good addition to Samurai Japan. He pitched well enough at various international tournaments before. He's still very young. He's getting better. I think with Azuma, he is just a master at like mixing and matching, right? And again, his fastball's not good. I have it on my model. The four seam is a 45. Bono has it at
Mm.
a 43, but he throws a cutter, he throws a sinker. So again, that kind of diversifies things. I think the sweeper is great. I think his changeup is good. And I just don't have many concerns with Azuma when it comes to like his floor. Obviously, he has a lower ceiling than others. He's not going to strike out a lot of guys. He's going to be like an 18% strikeout rate, but he gets soft contact and he does his thing. Also, just credit to him for turning into a workhorse after he had like a 4 or 5 year stretch there where it looked like his career was like over because he won
Mm.
Rookie of the Year 2017, I want to say. Tommy John after that, smaller injuries. Dude could not get on the field. And then the first year back, he had like an ERA of 7. So he was just not trending well. And then he just found it like that. And ever since then, him and Itoh are basically leading the league in innings, over this stretch. So that's been great for him. Let's finish off with all the rest of the remainder of the righties. So Iori Yamasaki, and Ruei-Yang. We both have these
Yeah.
guys sneaking into our top 20. So yeah, I'm curious what you think in particular about Guilin because we didn't get a lot of Guilin last year. It was only 35 innings or so, plus a little bit in the postseason when he looked awesome, by the way. He won the CPBL MVP in 2024, and I think we kind of saw a lot of that like talent, the arm talent in MPB. It's just that he had a bit of a home run problem, so the ERA was kind of high. The fastball, though, I think is just so legit, and he has like he actually worked a deeper mix after joining the Fighters in terms of like adding a sinker and getting a slider in there as well. And in CPBL, he was a bit more just like pure fastball and then splitter with a few curves mixed in there. So I'm fairly high on Guilin, but I also just don't know like what the workload component is. The Fighters rotation is so deep, yet he doesn't even have like a guaranteed spot. So that's why I'm a little bit lower on him, just because it's not really a problem with him. I'm just like, is this guy even going to pitch? Like, is he just going to be a reliever? So, yeah, thoughts on Guilin and then Iori Yamasaki.
the fighters like to piggyback stuff sometimes, so maybe he's like in
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
role where he goes like 2 or 3 innings after a guy comes out. I can see that. I think for him, like it's a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, but it kind of plays like it like the velo is there. I think there's carry to it, like we were talking about, and yeah, I think the mix is good. Like when I've seen him, I'm like, oh, this like kind of plays like this works. Um, and I think like talent wise, he definitely is in the top six, but I could see like from a production standpoint, or just like not trusting that he's gonna get to like the sixth or seventh inning every time out, that you might not like want to use him as a starter. So it would just be interesting to see what Napoleon does with him. And then Yamasaki is like the one that you kind of put me on, where I was like, this stuff is good, and I just need to like watch more of him. And then I started watching him, and I was like, wow, he like obliterates lefties with his splitter. Like he's basically just throwing all these pitches so then he can get to his split, and then he can get a ground ball, or he can put a guy away with the split. Like and especially I don't think we've talked about this, but like in MPB, it almost feels like there's a lean towards like left-handed hitters in lineups. So
Yeah.
when you're able to dominate left-handed hitters like that, especially with a pitch like a splitter where you can just get a bunch of ground balls and get some strikeouts and get some whiff. I think that separates you a little bit for me, and that's why I would look at a guy like Yamasaki and be like, I'd rather have him in my rankings than like an Ishida or Haruto Inaru or something like that. It's kind of like my idea with adding him. But to be fair, once you get to like this tier and once you start tiering these guys, they're very close. I will say, I think these last three guys, it's kind of funny. I have Gulen, Kanemaru, and Yamasaki like next to each other, like those last three. I think they have like the highest chances to like boost themselves up this rankings, like if we do this next season. So yeah, I think it's kind of funny that they're like in the back end of my top 20, but then I'm like, they have some like massive upside, just because I think there's a little bit of untapped potential with like all three of those guys.
Yamasaki for me is hard because, like you said, he could actually trend upwards from here. Like 2025 could have been the beginning of something great for him. Or I can also see him actually trending down, because going into last season, I did not view this guy as a top starter at all. And if you look at his K minus BB rate per year since he entered the league in 2022, it goes 8.5%, 13.8%, 9.8%, and then last year was 15.2%. So obviously that was a career best for him, but also he did kind of have this like slight jump up in 2023, and then it just fell off a cliff again. He doesn't have a great fastball. I think he hit it decently well, and he's also just like a ground ball machine type guy. But much like Hiroto Takahashi, except in the other way, he has a splits problem to me.
Mm,
Takahashi can't get lefties out. Yamasaki, I mean, he can get righties out, but I just don't. I think that it's due for like batted ball regression. And then
yeah,
he's
that's
just kind
fair.
of like then he's just like using the splinker against lefties, and I'm not sure what his solution is against righties. So I don't know. I think Iori Yamasaki is definitely solid, and he's basically the new ace of this team now that, Togo is kind of in the dumpster, and he needs to work his way back up. But I'm like slightly cautious about him. Like he was like a top 10 pitcher last year, so I could have ranked him up there, but I have him at 17. Gulin, yeah, Gulin's awesome. Like I think Gulin could
Yeah,
just skyrocket up the rankings if he pitches. Same with Roshi Shu, of course. And yeah, I mean, let's just finish there. Like guys who did not crack our top 20, but deserve like serious consideration for the list for me is Roshi Shu, Haruto Inoue, Haru Matsumoto, of course Whitley, who I didn't include but you did. Kosei Shoji for Rakuten
that's a
at
good one.
times looks like an ace. He has command issues, kind of a limited pitch mix, but I really like him. Keiji Takahashi, I'll also throw in there because he's always good, just um, much like Haruto Takahashi, another Takahashi. They just can't stay healthy. So that's kind of my list of guys who I would have actually considered for top 20, but for one reason or another, I didn't. How about you? I know you got like Stewart in there and some other
Yeah,
names.
Carter Stewart Jr. Inoue is in there for me. I actually have Uesawa. I think Uesawa could like figure it out, get back to like being decently good in MPB. I still like his mix. I know it didn't work out in MLB, and there's reasons why. And he came back, and then he signed with a new team, and in Oryx. But yeah, part of me like believes his mix is like good. It just he just hasn't like fully put it together yet. So yeah, I think Carter Stewart Jr. is like the one that I was like him and Ishida. I was like battling like should I put them in? Because for me, if you're Carter Stewart Jr. and you haven't been healthy for a while, but you can spin the absolute crap out of the ball, like clearly you have upside that like just other pitchers on this list wouldn't have. But also like, are you gonna throw 60 innings this year? Like that, like
Yeah.
it's just flat out a concern. So yeah, we'll see.
I
Ishida was another one where he could have been easily on my list.
I feel like the SoftBank guys are so close together. Like after Moinelo, like who's the number two now that Kohei Arihara flipped teams and went back to Nippon Ham? Like Shu, Stewart, Uwasawa, Matsumoto. All these guys are quite close for me. So that's pretty interesting. I will also, I mean, Ryosuke
Oh
Otsu
yeah,
is hurt right now,
Uesawa
but he's
signed with
another one.
SoftBank. I don't know why I said Oryx. He wasn't pitching on Oryx.
Oh
It was
yeah,
SoftBank. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then I'll just throw this out there at the end. Naoto Nishiguchi and Roji Kuribayashi, two of the league's best relievers, are converting to starters this year. They're not. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt like Kaima Taira, but they could be really good. I'm just extremely curious what Nishiguchi does because this was like a 70% fastball guy as a reliever, and that pitch was arguably the best pitch in MPB last year. His fastball is an invisible. He
Yeah.
throws it pretty hard, gets great ride on it. It is an elite pitch, but I don't know what else he's going to do after that. And then Kuribayashi, like at one point, was just like striking everybody out. Former rookie of the year. But he's kind of been trending downward almost in terms of swing and miss stuff. So I don't love the transition to starter at this point. Although Hiroshima's rotation is kind of thin, so I get that they have to. But those are two names that I think we will be talking about at some point, just because they have the arm talent. I'm just not exactly sure about like workload and how they manage their usage.
It would be so funny if Nishiguchi was like, actually, guys, I have these breakers that like you haven't seen. Like the splitter's good, but like wait till the third time through the order. I'm just gonna start throwing like these sliders and curveballs and stuff like that. Um, yeah, he's probably the one that when you told me he was making the transition, I was like, this is like the litmus test for like how good can the splitter play as a starter in MPB when you just throw it over when you throw it and then you also throw this invisible fastball. Like can it work from like a standpoint of a lot like Saiki, can I throw 60% fastballs and make it work? Like
Yeah,
that's where I'm
I
like
was actually
interested,
gonna say that right now. I was gonna be like, he will be an interesting comparison to make with Saiki and also like Shota Imanaga when he was in the league. It's just like how much can you really push fastball usage? And I guess, actually there's quite a few guys in the league. I think there is this like misconception that MPB is like a breakers league when
Yeah.
because guys don't throw as hard. But really like fastball usage in MPB is higher than MLB, and guys love to establish the fastball. It's just that people tend to have deeper arsenals and they mix and match, yes. And it is like they focus more on
When your fifth
pinpointing the pitch
reliever
as opposed to
6 pitches, like that's
yeah,
kind of
like
like how it is.
it is more important to command the pitch than just to like, get crazy velo on it. But guys love to throw fastballs in MPB and especially like the kind of aesthetically pleasing fastballs with the good ride. So yeah, that was a doozy of an episode. We covered a lot of guys, but
Yeah.
yeah, let us know in the comments who you are high on for 2026. And as we wrap up here, Brandon, what are you working on and where can people find you?
Just working on through my top 5 that you mentioned earlier. I'm writing up the top 5 starters in MPB, by my rankings. So I have Moinelo next. I'm actually going from 1 to 5. So I'm really excited to write up Moinelo because I wrote him up at the beginning of last year. before and I was like, oh, this is like just an awesome like test of like how good he is, and like you mentioned, he's been so good. And now he's like added pitches, so he's been that much better. People can find me on Twitter at Brandon 2 Weeks. And yeah, and I'm just really excited to get the season going. And hey, college baseball in the U.S. has already started, and I'll actually get this on. I'll get this out here somewhere when Taira Sasaki's gonna have a monster year. I think he's gonna be really good.
Went deep in that first game, had a missile double in there as well. It's gonna be a big year for him, and then a very interesting decision in the summer,
Yes.
whether he goes to SoftBank or he gets drafted to MLB. So yeah, I am Yuri Karasawa. You can find me at Yaku Cosmo and all my other socials, as well as my website at yakucosmo.com. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.